About 12 years ago, my father had given me a box of Super 8 film reels. They were the film reels that he'd shot of the family as we grew up, and they started in America, where he'd bought the camera when he was there teaching, and which was a year before I was born, and they went on until probably I was about age 14, at which point I think my sisters and I probably lost interest in being in the films as much as he lost interest making them. So it's a record which is about 14 years. And he gave me this box of films and asked if I could get them transferred to video. And I'll be honest, they sat there for a long time and I really did nothing with them. And then a year ago, when I came to school here, I thought maybe it'd be a good time to take a look at them and see what was on them. So I took them to Happy Snaps and had them transferred to video, and then spent a good few hours looking through them all to see what was on there. And it was actually quite shocking. It was really interesting as well. It was really interesting to see America in 1960, 61, 62. There was footage of the Easter Parade in Manhattan and Dwight Eisenhower arriving at Princeton University. But perhaps more confusingly, above anything else for me, there was footage of me from when I was born until I was about age 3.5, 4, which was before my other siblings were born. But more to the point, I don't remember any of that time. I have no memory of the things that are on the film. And so looking through this film, it was the first time that I'd seen the footage, and also the first time I knew that I'd been to these places or done these things, which came as a bit of a shock to me. I mean, clearly they happened, but I have no memory of them. And so I felt somewhat strange about being able to share these images with people, this footage with people, because I felt if I was going to share it, then I'd be sharing everything of me that I now know about that time. Having had no memory of that time, this footage was everything that I would ever know about that time and me. So I decided I was going to find a way that I could share it with people, but without giving away too much of me. At the same time, I'd been trying to figure out how to make a box, some kind of box that I could put over imagery and create ambient video. So take all of the detail and resolution out of imagery, and but still show it and have it create something of a mood in a room. Is that? So I've been working on a box and trying to figure out how deep it needed to be to place it over the top of video and then put a layer of either frosted glass or tracing paper. It ended up being tracing paper because it's so much easier to work with. And it came out around about 8 centimeters in depth. And I made one, first of all, from corrugated plastic, a really, really rough one. And it worked. It reduced 4 million pixels down to 15 pixels, which was the number of sections I divided the box into. So I recorded some video this way, and then worked with people here to do a laser cut version. And the laser cut version is beautiful and has perfectly regular squares, but actually I'm not sure it's quite as interesting as the original one I made, where each of the 15 pixels were actually slightly different shape. In fact, being honest, very different shape, because it wasn't that well built. So from there, I determined that I wanted to, having combined these two thoughts, how to make ambient color patterns and also how to show video that I didn't necessarily want to share in its entirety, I figured it'd be interesting to work with different shapes. And so I got hold of a number of tubes, cardboard tubes, of 2 different diameters, and cut them to length, and then put them in the box and used that as a filter system. And that worked particularly well with animated video, where you have much bigger and stronger color blocks. So that was an interesting effect. And then I wanted to take it even smaller, and I got regular drinking straws and spent a whole bunch of time cutting those to length and filling the box with them. But they didn't work. They were too narrow, and light couldn't escape up the tubes. It was just, the screen wasn't strong enough, and the angle of the camera to the opening of the straw just didn't work. It didn't give any kind of image. So I then found much bigger straws, the kind that you might use for a milkshake, and those are working. And my next step, I think, is to go out and film some short pieces of video that I feel capture a moment and that are meaningful to me in the environment where I am, and then make sure that it has an audio soundtrack, either somebody talking about the environment or people in the environment getting on with the work they do or their lives, and then play it back through these boxes so you have an idea what's going on with the sound, but you're not going to actually identify individual people or know exactly what it is they're doing. So that's my next step from here.